My name is Kwabna Chenchehini. Many thanks for joining us here on News Street. Our first story is and the country is likely to be plunged into total darkness on Friday if workers of the Electricity Company of Ghana carry out a threat to protest government's bid to privatize the company. Volta Region Chair of the ECG Senior Staff Association, Stephen Novihoho, revealed plans about the nationwide blackout during an interview on an Accra-based radio station on Wednesday. Mr. Novihoho says a Friday's event to invite private sector participation in the 25-year concession arrangement goes through, they will ensure no home or business has power. But Minister of State in charge of private-public partnership, Dr. Rashid Pelpo, is pleading with the workers to abort the plan and have a sit-down conversation with government on the way forward.
It is one of the areas where there is a controversy. Government has come into conflict with workers because of its policy. And so there's negotiation going on, there's thinking around it going on, but the workers are so determined to have what they want against what the government has proposed. So I see it to be a very thorny issue, which is something that must be resolved.
What is government proposing?
Well, there is an outcry about what ECG represents to us. Everybody is talking about the challenges that we face in our electricity supply and distribution. And so government tries to take steps to remedy the situation by encouraging and working around getting a concessionaire who will intervene and for a period of time take control of ECG.
When you say intervene, what do you mean, and for a period of time, how long?
A period not less than 5-10 years, that will allow the concessionaire to put ECG in the best of terms, in the best of operations, efficiency and effectiveness.
What really have you realized is the fault with ECG?
If you ask Ghanaians, everybody has a reason, something against ECG. People have made jokes on ECG. They have, when their lights go off, everybody talks about ECG.
You speak of people owing ECG, but government owes ECG, and it is yet to pay up that debt.
Yeah, government is one of them, and we have to inject some discipline into it. In fact, at the last time the president spoke to us, all of us, ministers and appointees, he said, we are going to make sure that all government institutions have meters fixed, the prepaid meters fixed, and that if you are unable to pay your bill, it will go off.
You speak of homegrown solutions. Your government believes in that, but this does not look like it's a homegrown solution to this particular problem.
Well, it's as far as I'm concerned, this is what, as I told you, we discussed it at policy levels. We came to the conclusion that that is going to be one that can help us.
What really are the immediate steps you take? Because the workers have threatened a nationwide outage by Friday, which is tomorrow, if they don't have a favorable response from government. What are the immediate steps to curtail all of this?
We need to engage them and we need to talk with them. We need to allay their fears. We need to make sure we let them understand that their jobs are not going to be in jeopardy and that they will still be working and that they may even be better off. What I'll do is to appeal to them not to do what they say they will do. It is against the rules of the game to be in negotiation and to threaten your partners in discussion. The best is to continue talking.
Well, still on the subject, and we do know that the Public Utilities Workers Union have been on strike since yesterday. They've been on a 3-hour sit-down strike. And let's try and get an update from the Eastern region from where my colleague Edwin Kofi joins us with the very latest. Kofi, good afternoon, many thanks for joining us. Can you tell us really what the situation across that very region is as far as this PUWU strike is concerned?
Well, they continue today. It started yesterday.
Indeed. And
they say that they're going to continue to tomorrow. So, in effect, they're going to demonstrate or protest every day. That is from yesterday from 8 a.m. every day to 11 a.m. So in every day in that 3-day period, they're going to demonstrate 3 hours in each day. And today, too, they continue. And the chairman of the Public Workers Union of ECG, that is Abraham Lincoln in the Eastern region, says it is not true that they have made it clear or stated that they're going to plunge the country into total darkness on Friday. He says it's a report that is very false and that nobody should take it as true. So Abraham Lincoln has debunked that notion or news item that ECG staff are going to plunge the country into darkness come Friday.
Kofi, yesterday we do know that due to this very strike, quite a number of customers were stranded. Is that the same situation today as well?
It was the same situation. It is the same situation, sorry. And if you go to the offices of the EC in the Eastern region, customers who came around 8, that is the official time that they opened the offices in the region, were not served. They were seen in queues, and they stood there until they finished with their protest. So here in the Eastern region, people who had come there to, access the services of the EC were denied from 8 a.m. to 11.
Kofi, many thanks for that update. That was our Eastern Regional Correspondent Edwin Kofi joining us on phone with a lot more on that action by the Public Utilities Workers Union over there. We'll be bringing a lot more on this in subsequent bulletins. But away from that now, and private legal practitioner Ace Kojoana Nankoma says Parliament must consider a Contempt of Court Act that offers a generally agreed definition of what constitutes contempt. According to him, until such a law is passed by Parliament, what constitutes contempt will remain open to a range of interpretations requiring that persons who criticize legal proceedings do so cautiously.
Panelists at the symposium explore the ongoing debate about the limits on what people can say or write in the media. The symposium, which draws on recent happenings as regards the Muntie 3, saw panelists agree unanimously that limits have to be placed on expression within the Ghanaian media. Private legal practitioner Ace Kojoana Nankoma argued that there are many laws that limit free expression in Ghana, both within the media and outside of it.
It is an offense to quarrel or make loud or unseeming noise, sing a profane, indecent, obscene, scurrilous, or abusive song. Now, do you know that if you assemble to beat, play, or dance to drums, gong gong, tom tom, or other musical instruments without the written permission of the district assembly, you could be tried and sentenced? Isn't that freedom of expression? Do you know if you drum within 300 yards radius of a court, you commit an offense? And if you drum with the intent to challenge, provoke, insult, or annoy a person, you commit an offense. Is this not freedom of expression? Why are they still offenses?
Lawyer Ankoma maintained that Ghana has to decode the contempt laws in our books, drawn directly from the English common law, which England itself has redefined since 1981.
Parliament must consider a Contempt of Court Act. There is the need to quickly consider a Contempt of Court Act that defines contempt in such a way that we all accept socially, and to the extent that we all agree on something and also prescribe the punishment for it. It will seek to maintain the balance between the right of free speech and commentary on court proceedings. Till Parliament steps to the plate, let your criticism of the court be measured and tempered, unquote.
Madame Elizabeth Ohene argued that expressions that attack persons or threaten institutions constitutes hate speech and must not be entertained in our democratic discourses.
So if somebody says that he knows where people live, and when there's trouble, he knows where to lead and finish them, it is not freedom of speech. There are things that cannot be measured as freedom of speech. and a terminology has developed for it. It's called hate speech. Threats of killing somebody or raping somebody do not constitute freedom of speech. They do not. They cannot constitute freedom of speech. We have seen them in their extremities in countries, and it has brought a lot of trouble. Let us not delude ourselves that we will be trying to protect anything called freedom of speech by threatening, whether it is Elizabeth Ohini, inconsequential Elizabeth Ohini, or judges of the Supreme Court.
Speaking on the Muntie 3 remission, lawyer Isankuma maintained the president has acted on powers afforded him by the Constitution.
The judiciary has exercised their power. The president has exercised their power. The court says the judiciary can have the final say. They can say, Mr. President, thumbs up, what you did was right. They can say, no, we disagree with you, but we won't touch it. Or we disagree with you, and we have reversed it. Now that will be very interesting. That will be very interesting because it pushes us right into the middle of a constitutional crisis. If the judiciary now says, no, we disagree with you, so the people should, well, the people will return to jail. That will be very interesting. So we are in for interesting days based on how this case goes. But the court could simply say, he's exercised his power. We think that the exercise of his power does not breach any provisions of the Constitution. So, Mr. President, you've done well.
The Supreme Court can, however, determine whether it was exercised within the context of law.
Meanwhile, the third speaker at that very symposium, editor of defunct evening newspaper and columnist Ebo Kwanzaa, was blunt in lashing out at the president for pardoning the Muntie 3 convicts.
I, Ebo Kwanzaa, had decided that if people who commit crime could be released by the head of states, I, Ebo Kwanzaa, cannot be restrained from disobeying some instructions from the Flagstaff House. And for that matter, I may need Mr. Maurice Ampao and his colleagues to come to my aid. In my opinion, the decision by the President to release the Muntie 3 from prison is an affront to the rule of law, a spite on the judiciary, and capricious use of power, by the #1 gentleman of the land. Let it be known that if I, Ebo Kwanzaa, criticize Mr. John Dramani Mahama and his administration, it is not because I do not like the forehead of the president. It is also not because of his height, as propounded by the Minister of State in charge of sports, at a time when our contingent to the Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro did not even win a wooden medal.
You're watching this today here on your Journey channel on Multi TV. It's also available on your Go TV channel 144 and your DSTV channel 42.